When we were putting together this deep dive for you, what really stood out to us was Albert Frederick Nussbaum's double life.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy was on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, a bank robber, but then also he was a writer.
It really is a story that kind of flips the script on how we think about criminals.
Exactly.
Like what we think we know about criminals.
Yeah.
What's so interesting to me is how he just defied the stereotype. He wasn't just some, thug with a gun. Nussbaum was very intelligent. He was skilled in all kinds of crafts.
Yeah.
And then he becomes a successful writer.
Yeah. It's a wild story.
That's the duality we're going to explore today using his Wikipedia article.
Yeah. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
How does this guy go from pulling off heists to writing stories?
Right.
To really get that, I think we need to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
So Nussbaum, he was born in Buffalo, New York back in 1934.
Okay.
And it really wasn't too long after that when he had his first run-in with the law.
Okay.
Yeah, he got in trouble for having a gun.
Okay.
And that landed him in federal prison.
Okay.
At 𝒄𝒊𝒕𝒄𝒉.
𝒄𝒊𝒕𝒄𝒉.
Yeah, the federal reformatory at 𝒄𝒊𝒕𝒄𝒉.
Okay, so this is where things start to get interesting.
Yeah.
Even in prison, his intelligence was pretty obvious.
Yeah.
He wasn't just sitting around.
Yeah.
He was playing chess by correspondence.
Oh, wow.
Which, that takes a lot of strategy.
Yeah.
A lot of focus.
He was sharpening his mind in prison.
Yeah, totally.
Almost
Training.
Training, yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just chess.
Oh, really?
He got good at a whole bunch of different crafts.
Wow.
Like photography, locksmithing, gunsmithing.
Wow.
All kinds of things. He even learned how to fly.
He was a pilot.
Yeah, he was a pilot.
Oh, my gosh.
An airplane mechanic.
Prison became his own personal workshop.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, was this him trying to, control his environment?
Yeah.
Find some kind of meaning in a place where it's meant to take away all meaning?
Yeah.
Or was he thinking ahead, giving himself skills he could use no matter, what side of the law he ended up on?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So we have this image of Nussbaum as, super smart, very resourceful, even while he's in prison.
Right.
But then when he gets out, he teams up with this guy, Bobby Randall Wilcoxon, who he met at 𝒄𝒊𝒕𝒄𝒉.
Okay.
And it's that classic, brains and brawn situation. Nussbaum's the brains, Wilcoxon's the muscle.
Okay.
And they start small.
Okay.
Knocking over little stores and gas stations around Buffalo.
Okay.
But they, they had bigger plans. They were trying to get money to, step up their game.
Okay, this is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
They didn't just go with your normal, little handguns, masks, the usual.
Right.
They got a hold of military weapons that were deactivated.
Wow.
Called DeWatts. And get this, they were actually skilled enough to, fix them up.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they could use them.
So they weren't messing around.
No Saturday night specials for these guys.
Yeah.
They had a full-on arsenal.
Wow.
Some machine guns, grenades. They even had anti-tank guns.
Anti-tank guns? What?
Yeah, armor-piercing ones.
Why would they need that kind of firepower?
I mean, that is a good question.
Yeah, what were they even planning?
It shows you how ambitious they were. How much they were willing to risk.
Yeah.
And maybe even, how paranoid they were.
Yeah.
It's they were preparing for a war.
Yeah.
Not just some bank robbery.
Not just some bank robbery.
And it's not just the weapons that were unusual.
Oh.
They also decided to pull off these incidents in D.C.
Oh, right.
As the Mad Bombers.
The Mad Bomber incidents.
Yeah.
Those were crazy.
They would plant bombs and call in pretending to be white supremacists.
Really?
Yeah. Just to, distract the police.
It's a whole other level.
Yeah, a whole other level of cunning and manipulation.
Right. It's not your average crook at this point.
It's not just about the money for them.
Right.
It seems like it was about control.
Yeah.
Outsmarting the authorities, creating chaos, maybe even they were enjoying the fear they created.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then things escalate.
Yeah.
They bring in this guy, Peter Columbus Curry, for a bank robbery in Brooklyn.
Okay.
And this is when Wilcoxon actually kills a guard.
Oh, wow.
This is the big turning point.
Yeah, definitely.
They go from these, daring robbers to cold-blooded killers.
Yeah, it changes everything.
Changes everything.
Yeah.
Now the FBI is after them. With everything they've got.
Yeah.
They both end up on the 10 most wanted list.
Wow.
They print over 1 million wanted posters.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're like public enemy #1 at this point?
They were a serious threat.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine that pressure, constantly looking over your shoulder, paranoid.
Yeah, wow.
Always afraid of getting caught.
Yeah, that's where we leave Nussbaum.
Okay.
End of part 1, on the run, desperate.
On the run.
But still incredibly dangerous.
Yeah. So we left off with Nussbaum on the run.
Right.
A wanted fugitive.
Yeah.
But remember, that's just one side of his story.
Right.
While he was hiding from the FBI, he was actually developing a whole other identity. One that would eventually, take him away from crime.
It's kind of hard to imagine like a, notorious bank robber on the FBI's most wanted list.
Right.
Is also like secretly into writing.
Right.
It seems impossible.
You wouldn't expect it.
But it's true.
It's true.
And it all started with his interest in a crime novelist, Dan J. Marlowe.
Okay.
So while he was on the run, he actually reached out to Marlowe.
Wow.
Using a fake name, Carl Fisher.
Really?
And he praised Marlowe's work.
Wow, that's interesting.
It wasn't just like a quick fan letter.
Oh, okay.
He was drawn to how real Marlowe's novels felt.
Yeah.
Like he saw a kindred spirit, someone who really understood that dark side of things.
So they ended up becoming friends.
Yeah, even though Nussbaum was living this double life.
That is why, a wanted criminal.
I know.
And a famous author.
I know.
Just exchanging letters.
Yeah.
Talking about crime and punishment.
Yeah. It makes you wonder, did that, back and forth, influence Nussbaum's choice to start writing seriously?
I think it definitely played a role.
Yeah.
Marlowe saw how talented Nussbaum was, how unique his perspective was, and he encouraged him to write, to turn those experiences into stories.
Yeah.
And Nussbaum, he gave Marlowe all this inside info on the criminal world that really added to his novels.
So they were both, learning from each other.
Yeah, totally.
It's like blurring the line between, fiction and reality.
Totally, like a crime drama happening in real life. It's crazy to think about how Nussbaum managed to write while he was on the run.
Right.
Always having to look over his shoulder.
Right. It's like, how do you even find the time?
Well, writing actually became his cover story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he needed a reason to be alone. To not talk to people.
Right.
So he pretended to be a writer,
Yeah.
someone who needed peace and quiet to work.
Oh, that's smart.
It was the perfect disguise.
Yeah.
It let him write and avoid getting caught at the same time.
He really used his intelligence to,
Totally.
adapt.
He turned his criminal life into a creative outlet.
That's amazing.
I know.
What kind of stuff was he writing back then?
Okay, so she was writing a lot, short stories for different magazines. He used fake names like Carl Martin, Albert Avellano, A.F. Oreshnik.
Wow, a lot of aliases.
Yeah, he explored themes of crime, suspense, the darker parts of being human.
It makes sense. He was drawing from what he knew.
Exactly.
He was leaving clues. Little hints about his double life.
Like a secret code.
Yeah.
But, as we know, eventually he got caught.
Right.
So, did he just stop writing once he was back in prison?
Well, what happened?
Actually, it was the opposite.
Really?
Prison gave him the time and structure to really focus on writing.
Wow.
He kept writing short stories. And get this, he even started writing for a film magazine.
What?
Called Take One.
No way.
Yeah, he was determined.
Yeah.
He didn't want his situation to define him.
It's like he was trying to connect his old life with his new one.
Yeah.
Using writing as the bridge.
Exactly.
And his friendship with Dan J. Marlowe, that continued too, right?
It did. Their friendship got even stronger.
Wow.
Those letters were like a lifeline for Nussbaum.
Yeah.
Gave him encouragement.
Yeah.
Made him feel validated.
That's really something.
Marlowe even used his connections to help Nussbaum get published.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a real story of, loyalty, mentorship.
Well, it goes beyond their very different lives.
Yeah. And then, this is crazy.
What?
Nussbaum actually got a novel published while he was still in prison.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, his most famous book, Gypsy, originally called Motorcycle Racer, came out under Scholastic Press.
Wow, so what's it about?
It's a coming-of-age story set in the world of motorcycle racing. All about rebellion, freedom, living on the edge.
I see.
It's not directly about his life as a criminal.
Right.
But it's hard not to see the connections.
Yeah, between the main character's journey and Nussbaum's own life.
Exactly. He was using fiction to explore those same themes.
Makes sense.
His desire for freedom, for escape.
Yeah.
Do you think any of his writing ever directly talked about his criminal past?
It's hard to say for sure, especially with all those fake names.
Right.
But there's definitely like a tension in his work, a fascination with the dark side of people, like a deep understanding of how criminals think, and that realness, that rawness, that's what probably connected with readers.
It's like he wasn't just writing about crime, he was writing from inside it.
Exactly. It's a perspective not many people have.
Right, for sure.
So what about his writing career after he got out of prison?
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
Did he, like, try to hide from his past, or did he own it?
What happened?
Well, he got paroled in the 70s.
Okay.
And he totally embraced his new life as a writer.
That's great.
Yeah, he kept writing short stories, and he even started writing for TV.
What?
Yeah, he worked on Switch, that crime show on CBS.
No way.
With Robert Wagner and Eddie Albert.
So he went from robbing banks to writing for a hit TV show.
I know. It's pretty incredible.
That's a huge transformation.
It doesn't stop there.
What else?
He also got involved in the writing community.
Oh, okay.
She started teaching workshops for people who wanted to write mysteries.
Wow.
At USC.
So a former FBI most wanted criminal,
I know, right?
Is teaching aspiring writers.
Yeah, like he was coming full circle.
Yeah.
Using all that he'd been through to help others find their own voice.
That's powerful.
It is. And then he became a part of the Mystery Writers of America.
Okay.
Which really solidified his place in the literary world.
It's not like he was just a member, though, right?
No, he was actually elected president.
President.
Yeah, of the Southern California chapter.
Wow, that's a testament to, like, his talent.
Yeah.
His charisma.
Totally.
Maybe even, like, the idea of redemption.
Maybe.
He found a community where he could be judged on his work.
Yeah.
Not his past.
Exactly.
Did he ever, like, express regret for his crimes, though?
You know, there's no public record of him talking about his past or saying he was sorry. But his actions speak louder than words, right? He mentored other writers. He was part of this literary community.
Right.
It's like he was trying to make things right.
Yeah.
Not with words.
Yeah.
But by actually doing good.
Yeah.
By using his talent to contribute to the world.
It's complex.
Very complex.
It's full of contradictions. A criminal who became a writer. A fugitive who found a place in literature.
It's like he was rewriting his own story.
Yeah. His story really makes you think about good and evil.
Definitely.
Second chances. The power of art to transform people.
I think that's what makes his story so interesting.
Yeah.
It makes us ask these hard questions.
Like what?
Like, can people really change? Is redemption possible even after someone has done terrible things?
Right.
And what role does art have in that transformation?
Yeah, these are questions that go way beyond just Nussbaum's life.
Right.
They're about how we see justice, forgiveness, the human capacity for change.
Exactly.
We've seen how he went from wanted criminal to a successful writer.
Right.
But there's more to his story.
What do you mean?
Like a deeper ethical side that we need to explore.
Okay, let's get into it.
We've talked about how Albert Friedrich Nussbaum went from bank robber to, successful writer.
Right.
And it's clear that he, used his past to help with his writing.
Yeah.
But that kind of brings up a question, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Where is the line between using your past for inspiration and, exploiting it?
Right.
Especially when your past involves crime.
Yeah, it's a tough one. There are no easy answers.
Right.
I mean, you want stories to be authentic, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You want writers to dig deep into their experiences, explore the whole range of emotions and behaviors.
Yeah.
Even the bad stuff.
Yeah.
And there's no doubt that Nussbaum's past gave him a perspective that most writers just don't have.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
He knew what it was like to plan a heist, to be in a high-speed chase, to live with that constant fear of getting caught.
Right.
That's real,
Absolutely.
It's visceral. It's something he could use in his writing.
And it makes it feel real.
Yeah.
You can't fake that kind of realism.
Exactly. Exactly.
Think about his connection with Dan J. Marlowe. He gave Marlowe all those little details.
Right.
About the criminal world, the slang, the way they think.
Yeah.
That's gold for a crime novelist.
Right.
Who wants their stories to feel authentic.
It adds so much to the story.
It does. It makes it more believable.
Yeah.
More exciting for the reader.
So in a way, you could say that Nussbaum's past as a criminal actually helped crime fiction?
Yeah. You could argue that both his own writing and through his work with Marlowe.
But then there's the other side.
Yeah, the victims.
Yeah.
The people whose lives were turned upside down.
Right.
Traumatized by what he did.
Yeah, was he profiting from their pain?
Right. Was he using what they went through to boost his own career?
It's a really tough question.
It is.
It makes you think about all the different sides of the story.
It's
like this, moral balancing act. On one hand, you have the power of art, the potential for redemption through creativity. But then, on the other hand, you have the weight of his actions, the harm he caused.
It's hard to reconcile those two.
It really is.
And it's not just about Nussbaum himself.
Right.
It makes us think about how we, as readers, deal with art created by people with a troubled past.
Yeah. Do we separate the art from the artist?
Right. Can we enjoy the work?
Yeah.
While still acknowledging the bad things they may have done?
It's a conversation worth having.
It is, for sure.
So where does that leave us with Albert Friedrich Nussbaum?
Yeah.
He lived a life full of contradictions, a life that's hard to define.
It really is.
He was a criminal, but he was also a talented writer.
Right.
A mentor, a respected member of the writing community.
It's all true.
And I guess it's up to each of us to decide how to, make sense of those different parts of his life.
His legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
His story doesn't wrap up neatly.
No, it doesn't.
And maybe that's the whole point.
Yeah.
It forces us to think critically, to really grapple with the complexity of human nature.
Yeah.
The idea that people can change, the power of art to, overcome even the darkest parts of our past.
It's what makes his story so compelling, so thought-provoking.
Totally agree.
It sticks with you.
It does.
Albert Friedrich Nussbaum. Bank robber, writer, enigma.
Perfectly said.
His story takes us on this deep dive into the human mind.
It does.
It reminds us that even in the most unexpected places, we can find hope, creativity, and the potential for change.
Well said.
And that's what makes this deep dive so fascinating, so thought-provoking, and, ultimately unforgettable.